Hello everyone, my name is Jason Matalog, and for my presentation, I'll be presenting about the Long March 5B rocket. Contents of this presentation. So here is what my presentation will consist of. I will be talking about what is the Long March 5B rocket, the Tiangong space station, what went wrong, predicted chart of where rocket core may land, what is China saying about the rocket, where has the debris landed, has this happened before and will it happen again, have other countries' rockets recently had uncontrolled re-entries, what would happen if space debris hit something, and important lessons learned.
It started with the launch of a massive Chinese rocket. This morning, that 9-story tall, 20-ton rocket body is out of control, hurtling around Earth at 18,000 miles per hour, on a path taking it as far south as Australia and as far north as New York. And it could hit anywhere.
So what is the Long March 5B rocket? With a takeoff weight of 24.8 tons, the Long March 5B is China's largest rocket and one of the largest currently in use by any nation. It would be among the biggest pieces of space debris to fall to Earth. The country's space program needed a large, powerful vehicle to carry Tianhe, which is the main module of Tiangong, the new space station, which is to be operational by 2022 after more pieces are launched and connected in orbit. The Tiangong Space Station. Tiangong is a successor to China's Tiangong 1 and Tiangong 2 space laboratories, which were launched in 2011 and 2016 respectively. It will be built on a modular design similar to the International Space Station operated by the United States, Russia, Japan, Canada, and the European Space Agency. When complete, Tiangong will consist of a core module attached to 2 laboratories with a combined weight of nearly 70 tons. The core capsule, named Tianhe, which translated is Harmony of Heavens, is about the size of a bus. Containing life support and control systems, this core will be the station's living quarters. At 22.5 tons, the Tianhe capsule is the biggest and heaviest spacecraft China has ever constructed.
The U.S. government is keeping a close watch on a large Chinese rocket set to re-enter Earth's atmosphere as early as tomorrow. The rocket was launched last week and was supposed to fall back to Earth in a controlled descent, but something went wrong. It's now unclear when and where it will land. And the remnants of the rocket could be seen early yesterday morning over the nation's capital as a tiny pulsating light right there.
So what actually went wrong? The rocket, a Long March 5B, launched the main module of China's next space station Tiangong on April 29, 2021. Usually, the large booster stages of rockets immediately drop back to Earth after they are ejected, but the 23-ton core stage of the Long March 5B accompanied the space station segment all the way to orbit. Because of friction caused by the rocket rub against air at the top of the atmosphere, it soon began losing altitude, making what is called uncontrolled re-entry back to Earth inevitable. So what we have here is the predicted chart of where the rocket core may land. It is estimated to land somewhere between latitude 41.5 degrees north and south. What is China saying about the rocket? According to China, the rocket that's falling to Earth will mostly burn upon re-entry, posing little threat to people and property on the ground. The nation's government reassured the world on Friday. Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin said China was closely following the rocket's re-entry into the atmosphere. The probability of this process causing harm on the ground is extremely low, he said. China's space agency has yet to say whether the main stage of the huge Long March 5B rocket is being controlled or will make an out-of-control descent. Where has the debris landed? There is nothing to worry about. The debris from a large Chinese rocket had landed in the Indian Ocean near the Maldives early Sunday morning, according to China's Space Administration. It said most of the debris had burned upon re-entry. However, it was not immediately clear whether any of what remained had landed on any of the Maldives' 1,192 islands. The possibility, however slight, that debris from the rocket could strike a populated area had led people around the world to track its trajectory for days.
China's space agency says debris from a Chinese rocket that was falling to Earth out of control likely plunged into the Indian Ocean Saturday night just west of the Maldives. The agency said in a post on WeChat that most of the rocket, a Long March 5B weighing almost 20 tons, burned up in the atmosphere. It's not yet clear if any debris fell on land. The rocket had been used last month to carry a piece of a new Chinese space station into orbit and was left to fall to Earth. There was no way to be sure when it would come down or where, but experts said it was unlikely to fall onto a place populated by human beings, since most of the planet is covered by oceans.
Has this happened before, and will it happen again? Yes, this has happened before. Last year, the first launch of a Long March 5B rocket lifted a prototype of China's space capsule. The booster from that rocket also made an uncontrolled re-entry, with some debris raining down on a village that was located in Ivory Coast. With more large pieces of China's space station scheduled to go to orbit, more launches of the Long March 5B are expected throughout 2022. Unless there is a change to how China operates it, the odds that someone will be hurt by a piece of a falling booster will increase. Have other countries' rockets recently had uncontrolled re-entries? The answer to the question is yes. In March, an out-of-control SpaceX rocket stage re-entered Earth's atmosphere near Seattle, surprising residents there as it lit up the night skies. Pieces of the rocket landed on a farmer's property in Washington state. In that case, a firing of the engine of the second stage to bring it down safely did not occur as planned. What would happen if space debris hit something? If part of this particular Long March 5B rocket caused damage in one of the countries signed onto the Liability Convention, the 1972 Space Liability Convention comes into play, in which a country can demand payment for damage caused by another country's falling rocket. Has this happened before? Yes, this has happened once, after Cosmos 954, a Soviet satellite that was powered by a nuclear reactor, crashed in Canada in the late 1970s. Canada billed the Soviet Union for part of the cost of cleaning up the radioactive debris. What are some important lessons that we could learn from this event? Here are two important lessons we could take from this falling rocket. Number one would have to be expect the unexpected. In the field of STEM, anything could go wrong. As they say, failure leads to success. Therefore, it is always important to have a backup plan. Number two would have to be treasure every moment in life. Not knowing where this rocket will land means that there's a chance, even slight, that you could potentially lose your life. Luckily though, in this case, no one was harmed and majority of the debris were able to burn during its descent. With that being said, that concludes my video presentation. And on my behalf, I would like to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.